Exposed, this 80-year-old grandmother's amazing journey of heartwarming transformation will inspire you. In the quaint town of Maplewood, June Miller stood at the crossroads of memory and modernity. At 80, the soft curls of her silver hair framed a face rich with stories and laughter. But lately, her heart ached. Her antique shop, a treasure trove of family history, was under siege by developers who saw only numbers, not the legacy she had nurtured since childhood. Each item on her shelves resonated with the laughter of her ancestors' battered rocking chairs, delicate porcelain figurines, and dusty books whispered secrets of love and loss. But to her family, it was just clutter. One chilly morning, after a particularly long night of sleepless worry, June felt sharp pangs as she watched her children bustle about, their minds wrapped tightly around modern ambitions. "Mom, it's time to think about the future," they'd say, completely unaware that their future was built on the fragile backbone of her past. The AI tech startups, flashy chains, and quick money schemes didn't resonate with her. They felt like thieves in the night, plotting to steal Maplewood's rich soul. Yet her grandson Kyle remained a shimmering beacon of understanding. A thoughtful high school senior, he often found an escape within the crumbling pages of June's stories. "Grandma, tell me again about the traveling salesman," he'd plead, eyes sparkling with curiosity. In those moments, June poured her heart into each tale, weaving life lessons of perseverance, honor, and the irreplaceable value of home. But now even he was drifting, pulled toward flashy dreams that threatened to eclipse the family roots he held dear. "Soon, they won't see me at all," June whispered one evening, a single tear escaping down her cheek. That day, a powerful developer strode into her shop, all slick suits and ruthless ambition, proposing a deal that would turn her beloved antique shop into a sterile chain store. "This place is obsolete," he offered, smirking. June felt the sting of loss creeping in, but she also felt a fire flare within her soul, ignited by the desire to protect her legacy. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. In the days that followed, June stumbled upon a dusty box tucked away in the back of the shop. Inside lay a collection of forgotten letters and faded photographs, ghosts of warmth and laughter. As she sifted through them, each piece reignited her passion and resolve. Her heart swelled with memories that defined her family, reminding her why she began this journey. As the town hall meeting approached, the weight of those letters felt heavier and lighter all at once. Friends gathered to show their support, but would her family stand by her side? When she stepped to the microphone, the atmosphere buzzed with tension. Just as her lips parted to recount her fight for the antique shop, an earth-shattering crash echoed through the hall. A heartbeat of silence fell, eyes wide with shock. What had happened? Would this moment be the key to salvaging her legacy, or a nail in the coffin of her family's history? June felt a chill sweep through the room as all eyes turned toward the source of the crash. Her heart raced, the pulse in her ears drowning out the whispers of disbelief swirling around her. The sudden chaos brought with it a familiar sense of urgency that had long been absent from her life, like when she first opened her shop so many years ago. Just then, the crowd parted to reveal a large, wooden beam that had crashed down from the overhead ceiling, a remnant of the building's own age. The developer's face paled as he looked up, realizing how close he had come to disaster. "Get that sorted out," he barked to his aides, his smooth composure slipping. Panic rippled through the audience, but June felt a spark ignite inside her. This was no mere coincidence. Perhaps it was a sign that their roots, much like the beams of this old hall, needed support to stand firm against the pressures of change. "People of Maplewood," June called out, her voice steadying as she gripped the side of the microphone. "What you just witnessed is more than a physical threat, it's a reminder of what's at stake here." The hall fell silent, her words weaving through the tension. She took a deep breath, the smell of dust and old wood grounding her. "This building, like our town, has weathered storms, seen laughter, and embrace the stories of our ancestors. We can't let it crumble away for a new shine that only lasts until the next best thing comes around. She saw familiar faces among the crowd, friends, neighbors, people who had walked through her shop's doors over the decades. Faces that, like hers, were marked with years of history and memory. A few nodded slowly, tentative but hopeful. The glimmer of shared resolve illuminated the room's dim light. Then, out of the corner of her eye, June caught sight of Kyle, standing at the back. He was leaning against the wall, brows furrowed in concern. Their gazes locked, and in that moment, June felt an unspoken connection. Would he remember the countless tales she shared, the very essence of family that formed the backdrop of their lives? She continued, voice stronger. Kyle. You wanted to be part of something that matters. Look around. This is it. Our community, our history, it deserves to be honored. Her grandson stepped forward, swallowing hard as he battled his own inner conflict. He could feel the weight of the moment and the courage in her voice. Others were now leaning closer, drawn in by the truth of her words. June pressed on, the letter she'd read just days ago echoing within her family. Wasn't just about blood, it was about acknowledging shared history and helping one another stand tall. Just then, a woman from the crowd shouted, "We'll help you, June. We can't let them take this away." Her outburst sparked a wave of murmurs, others joining in to voice their support. Fueled by the sudden wave of encouragement, June felt a sense of unity wash over her. It was no longer just about one shop, it was about the lifeblood of Maplewood. She could hear whispers of plans forming, ideas being exchanged, and for the first time, she felt like she wasn't standing alone in this fight. But just as she started to sense victory within her grasp, a shadow fell over her hopes. From the far end of the hall, the developer's icy glare met hers, a threat lurking beneath the surface. "You really think this little show will change my plans?" he said, his voice dripping with disdain. "I'll make sure your precious town becomes a footnote in history, just like your antique shop." The room gasped collectively, but June stood firm, unwilling to let fear dictate her future. It was time to strategize, to rally those willing to join her cause. She knew there was only one way forward. And as she prepared to fight for Maplewood's spirit, a new uncertainty began to blossom within her heart. What if they couldn't save the shop? What if she lost everything she fought for? The tension in the air thickened, and June had to ask herself, would the community band together in time, or would their legacy fade like the letters she had once cherished? Her gaze swept over the crowd, and she realized she had one chance to truly inspire them. This isn't just about me, this is about all of us. Are you ready to stand with me? The answer hung in the air, heavy and hopeful, as June awaited a response that could very well shape the future of Maplewood. Little did she know, a far greater force was about to challenge everything she believed in. Would hope triumph, or was it all destined to unravel? The crowd erupted in a chorus of voices, each echoing her plea. "Yes. We're with you, June." The words flowed like a warm tide sweeping through the hall, crashing against the sturdy walls that had stood for generations. June's heart swelled as she felt the strength of their unity lifting her spirit. The flicker of hope bounced from face to face, igniting the kind of loyalty and determination that had always thrived in Maplewood. Kyle stepped forward, his expression shifting from uncertainty to resolve. "Let us save the shop," he declared, his voice cutting through the noise. When he spoke, it felt like a clarion call, rallying those who shared the town's heartbeat. "My friends, my family, let us organize. We can protect our heritage." June watched proudly as the energy shifted palpably. Ideas blossomed amid the growing enthusiasm. Meetings started to be planned, flyers sketched hastily on scraps of paper, and voices mingled in a vibrant hum of anticipation. They would gather, not just to save her shop, but to reaffirm the very bonds that tethered them together in this small town. "Let us make a list of everything we can do," one of her longtime friends shouted, her pink and white scarf fluttering as she energetically waved her hands. "Bake sales, community events, anything. People love this town. We can show them our hearts." As they brainstormed, June felt that familiar warmth of connection spread beyond its usual realms. Little stories began to emerge: a high school play long ago, the annual town fair that brought everyone together, the roots of each family intertwined with the history of Maplewood. This was more than a fight for a building, it was an embrace of what they all held dear. But as excitement flourished, doubt flickered in the back of June's mind. Unquestionably, they needed to act fast, like a fire that mustn't burn out. As she scanned the group, her heart sank as she recalled the developer's menacing promise. Would their community efforts be enough to counter the cold, calculating ambition of someone who saw nothing but dollar signs? Just then, a heavy thud interrupted her thoughts. The doors burst open, and the developer marched in, flanked by his burly associates. The room went quiet, tension curling around them like smoke. June felt every heartbeat, every breath, as the man approached her, a smirk plastered onto his face. "You're back for more, I see," he sneered, with a tone that sent a chill down her spine. "This is your last chance to turn back. My plans won't be stopped by nostalgia or heartstrings." He paused, letting the weight of his words hang in the air. "Are you really willing to put everything on the line for something that will soon be forgotten?" June clenched her fists, unwavering. "This town is not forgotten. It has roots that run deep, stories that deserve to be told, and a future that we will shape together. Count us in to protect it." The developer scoffed. "You may fight, but every noble cause meets its end in the face of progress." And with that, he turned on his heel, leaving a suffocating silence in his wake. But the silence was broken when Kyle stepped forward again. "He doesn't know us, he hasn't seen our spirit." The group nodded, lifting their voices together. "Let us show him. We will be ready." As they rallied once more, June felt an unfamiliar force welling within her. There was a strength growing, an unexpected resilience sparking to life. She turned back to the group with determination. "We will not allow anyone to erase what makes us who we are." June couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle. What other challenges waited in the shadows, threatening to test their resolve? As she locked eyes with Kyle, she wondered if they were truly prepared for the storm that loomed ahead. Just then, a whisper in the back echoed. It was her friend Sally, clutching a tattered old newspaper in her hands. "You all need to see this, it's about more than the shop." Whatever news she held, June realized, might change everything again. What was Sally about to reveal that could alter their fight for Maplewood's legacy? Sally stepped forward, her fingers trembling slightly as she unfolded the newspaper. The wrinkles across her forehead deepened, revealing her anxiety, but her eyes shone with determination. The yellowing pages rustled softly, like whispers coaxing June closer. "Look here," Sally said, pointing to an old photograph. "This is Maplewood in 1943. Do you recognize this corner?" The image was black and white, capturing the edge of what was now June's shop. The faces of townsfolk smiled up at them, an unbroken thread of community. June leaned in, her heart racing. The caption read, "Maplewood celebrates its centenary." She could feel the collective breath of the crowd as they studied the faces, some familiar, others lost to time. Sally's voice trembled as she continued, "And here's your grandmother, June. Isn't that her?" June squinted at the photograph. It was unmistakable. Her grandmother, vibrant and full of life, surrounded by friends, laughing in the sun. The realization struck her. How many stories were hidden in the cracks of those smiles? Sally pressed on, excitement bubbling beneath her words. "You see, June, this isn't just about the shop. It's about our history, our legacy. This building has witnessed countless moments like this: weddings, births, celebrations, all woven into the fabric of our town." The crowd surged with energy, fueled by nostalgia and pride. Eyes lit up with recognition and reverence. June could see people connecting memories, piecing together a life shared, and it filled her with warmth. This wasn't simply her fight anymore, it was for everyone who ever called Maplewood home. "Your grandmother fought to keep this very space alive," Sally insisted, her excitement contagious. "She believed that a community like ours could thrive through its hardships. We must do the same. Emboldened, June straightened her back. What if we held a history night? She suggested, her voice rising above the murmur. We can showcase old photographs and stories. Invite our neighbors, everyone. Remind them of what this place means. The energy was electric. Laughter erupted, voices overlapping as ideas flew. They would bring together the past and present, using their shared memories as a weapon against the threat looming over them. They could show the developer that Maplewood was a tapestry of lives worth preserving. But just as hope blazed brightly, a shadow flitted across June's mind. What if the developer would retaliate? The thought pulled at her gut, like a cold hand clenching around her heart. Before she could voice her concern, Kyle interjected. June is right. Let us rally the community. We can even incorporate a fundraiser. Show them we have spirit, and raise money. The crowd roared with approval, their voices blending into a symphony of tenacity. June's heart swelled. Maybe they really could do this together. The developer wants to erase our past, June declared, her voice firm. But we will make sure our stories live on our love for Maplewood will drown out his greed. Just then, Sally's eyes flickered, as if she remembered something pivotal. Wait, June, there's more. The crowd paused, catching their collective breath, waiting for her to continue. Before my grandmother passed, she shared a letter with me. A letter that, what did it say? Before June could process, her heart raced again. What revelation lay hidden within that letter? Whatever it was, June sensed it was a revelation they all needed, a battleground of fate waiting to be exposed. The room was electric with anticipation. What could change everything again? Sally's revelation shimmered in the air, and June knew they were standing on the brink of something monumental. Sally took a deep breath, as if readying herself for a plunge into the depths of a shared memory. The letter, it detailed the history of our town, a history your grandmother cherished. She believed that every brick of this building held a story, every corner a memory that shaped who we are today. The crowd leaned in, the moment thick with emotion. June felt the urgency in the air, almost like a heartbeat. What did it say? Someone whispered from the back, their voice layered with curiosity and a hint of reverence. She wrote of a time when this shop was a refuge during the war. People came together here to share their fears, their hopes. Laughter echoed off these walls. Sally's voice broke slightly, but she steadied herself. She spoke about the importance of belonging, of standing together against anything that sought to tear them apart. June felt her chest tighten, her grandmother's spirit swirling around them like a warm embrace. What happened then? She asked, unable to contain the urgency rippling through the crowd. Sally's eyes sparkled with determination. Toward the end of her life, she vowed to keep those memories alive. The letter serves as a legacy, a call to action. Her fingers brushed the edges of the newspaper like she was caressing a fragile treasure. She feared for the future, but she believed in community. A murmur swept through the crowd. Heads nodded in agreement, understanding the weight of their shared past. June's heart raced. We have to find that letter. We owe it to her and to all of us. We can do that. Kyle shouted, excitement bubbling in his voice. Let us search every attic, every home. If that letter exists, we will find it. Yes. Came another voice, this time from a woman who ran the local cafe. Let us bring memories back alive at our history night. Share stories, have a treasure hunt for this letter. The crowd erupted, their voices a chorus of hope and determination. June felt tears prick her eyes, overwhelmed by the connection forming among the townsfolk. This was no longer a simple fight for a building, it was a battle for the identity of Maplewood itself. As the plans started to crystallize, June felt something shift within her. It was no longer just about saving the shop, it was about reminding everyone of the strength that resided in their connections. Their history was a power that couldn't be easily erased. But then, just as her hope soared, a different thought flickered in the back of her mind. What if the developer heard about their plans? What if he took it as a challenge? She turned to Sally, her voice quieter now, almost lost in the swelling excitement around them. Is there more in that letter? Something that could help us? Sally hesitated, her brow furrowing. I don't know, it's been a while since I read it. But I do remember a hint about a hidden document that could reveal the significance of this place. The crowd's energy shifted again. What hidden document? June asked, her heart skipping. The original deed, the one that was signed by your great-grandfather when he built this shop. It might have clauses that protect our community. The excitement ricocheted off the walls. A collective gasp filled the room. June's mind raced. What if that document held the key to blocking the developer's plans? It could be their ticket to saving everything. But where was it? And who would hold the answers? Let us split up. Someone suggested. Search homes, talk to the families. We're all in this together. June nodded, determination setting her features. Yes. We can sift through the past to secure our future. As the crowd dispersed, an electric sense of purpose filled the air. But as June gathered her thoughts, the earlier shadow hovered again. Would they really be able to unveil the truth in time? And what would they do if they couldn't? Darkness loomed at the edge of their bright moment, a looming mystery they had yet to unravel. The stakes were rising. What more would they uncover? Everything was unfolding, and soon they would know if they could fight back, or if it was all slipping away. June stepped out of the shop, her mind racing with thoughts and emotions. The weight of history hung heavy in the air, mingling with the scent of autumn leaves and wood smoke drifting from nearby chimneys. She could hear the sounds of excitement behind her, the buzz of her neighbors fervently planning the treasure hunt, some even sharing stories of their own memories tied to the shop. But for June, the excitement was tangled with worry. The developer looming over them wasn't just a shadow, he was a looming storm. What if he had spies? What if he planned to undercut their efforts as they dug into their past? She quickened her pace, determined to begin her search for the key document. As she walked down Main Street, her eyes fell on the familiar storefronts. Each one held a piece of her childhood, stories drifting from their walls like whispers. She felt a smile tug at her lips as she thought of Mr. Thompson, the old man who ran the hardware store. His genuine laughter was an echo of kindness she'd always cherished. She decided to start there, knowing he had been around forever. Stepping inside, she was greeted by the soft jingle of the bell over the door. The scent of sawdust and metal filled the air, and there stood Mr. Thompson, hunched over a work table, surrounded by tools of every kind. His face lit up as he looked up, his eyes crinkling with warmth. June. It's been too long, my dear, he exclaimed, wiping his hands on a rag. Hi, Mr. Thompson. I need your help, she said, urgency flooding her voice. I'm looking for something important about the history of the shop, and the deeds from your old records. Do you remember anything? His brow furrowed slightly, the lines deepening with thought. Ah, your grandmother used to come in here often. Such a lovely soul. We talked about the past a lot. There might be something in my archives, but it's been ages since I've gone through them. Could we look together? She asked, hope blooming in her chest. He nodded, and together they ascended to the small attic above the store. It was a cramped space filled with boxes and years of forgotten memories. Dust motes danced in the slanted sunlight filtering through grime-covered windows. June felt a shiver of excitement as they rummaged through old ledgers and faded photographs. Each artifact seemed to bring with it echoes of laughter and love, cradling the spirit of the town. But as minutes slipped into hours, her heart sank. Nothing seemed to arise from the disarray that could help them. Just when she began to lose hope, Mr. Thompson pulled out a large, leather-bound book. Its spine was brittle, but it held an air of importance. This is the town's original registry. It contains records from when Maplewood was founded, he said, his fingers tracing the cover with reverence. June's heart raced. Can we open it? As he moved to flip through the pages, an envelope slipped out and floated to the floor. June picked it up, her hands trembling as she opened it. What is this? To whom it may concern a deed to a property mentioned in the town's founding. Mr. Thompson's voice trailed off, eyes wide. Suddenly, her mind spun with possibilities. If this was indeed the deed to the shop, it could contain the protective clauses they needed to save their town. But just as the glimmer of hope ignited, a thought struck her: what if the developer found out they were onto something? "June, this could be just what we need," Mr. Thompson said, his brow furrowed with concern as he noticed her hesitation. Her heart raced. But what if it's not enough? What if we're too late? Looking into Mr. Thompson's eyes, she sensed a flicker of determination mirrored in him. "Sometimes, June, the fight gets messy before the victory. We must believe in what we've got even if the storm is closing in." With that, she felt renewed courage wrap around her like a cloak. The pieces of the puzzle were beginning to align. But would it be enough to turn the tide? As they locked eyes, she knew they were on the brink of something big, a fight worth every ounce of hope they could muster. But the clock was ticking. Would they uncover what they needed before it all slipped away? June leaned closer, heart pounding as she studied the letter. The thick paper crinkled slightly in her grip, a sensation that grounded her amid the whirlwind of fear and hope. "Mr. Thompson, if this deed mentions the shop," her voice trailed off as she dared to dream about what could lie ahead. "We might have a chance," he said, his gaze shifting from the deed to her face. "But we need to act fast. The meeting is in 2 days, and there's no telling what that developer might do before then." The surge of urgency pushed June into action. "We should take this to the town hall. They have to know, and we can't just sit on this information." "Good thinking," Mr. Thompson replied, his eyes gleaming with newfound vigor. "Take it to Mayor Jensen. He'll know what to do. But be careful, June. You never know who's listening." She nodded, gripping the deed tightly, knowing the weight it carried. Every turn now felt significant. The sunlight was beginning to fade outside as they descended from the attic. Once they were back on Main Street, she could almost feel the pulse of the town around her. The air buzzed with anticipation. People were moving, preparing for the treasure hunt, their faces lit with excitement. But in the back of her mind was the relentless dread of the developer lurking in the shadows. As she walked, she spotted a poster on the town bulletin board: "Community meeting, join us to discuss the future of Maplewood." It was a topic everyone in town cared about, yet nobody could grasp how important it was to rally their efforts now. She took a deep breath, her determination unwavering. "I need to spread the word," June said, looking at Mr. Thompson, who stood beside her with an encouraging smile. "If they see how real this threat is, we might just pull together." "Absolutely, June. We're all in this together." They set off toward the town square, where preparations for the event were in full swing. June raised her hand to get everyone's attention, her voice shaky but loud enough to carry over the crowd. "Everyone. Can we gather around for a moment?" As people turned, puzzled but curious, she felt the energy shift. She had their focus, the power to share her newfound hope even if it flickered like a candle in the wind. "Listen up," she began, her voice ringing with urgency. "I've just found something important that could change everything for us: the deed to the shop. It's part of our town's history, and we might need it if we want to protect our community from that developer." A gasp rippled through the crowd, illustrating the concern and anticipation in the air. Mr. Thompson stepped beside her, his wise presence lending weight to her words. "This isn't just about a shop," June continued, "it's about Maplewood. It's our home, our memories, and we're facing a storm if we don't unite. The treasure hunt isn't just a game anymore, it could be our last stand for what makes this town special." She could see faces lighting up with determination, eager to join her fight. Just then, the front door of the shop creaked open, revealing a familiar figure: the developer himself. He stood casually, surveying the crowd like a predator assessing his prey. June's heart dropped. Would he try to undermine their efforts? The energy shifted again, tension thickening the air. The showdown was coming, and this time, it was no longer just about finding a deed, it was about their future. Could they stand united against him, and would the new revelations be enough? As eyes locked in both fear and resolve, June felt the stakes rise. What would happen next? June's breath caught in her throat as she met the developer's gaze. It was a cold, calculating stare that sent shivers down her spine. She could feel the crowd's anxiety rise, their resolve wavering in the face of his confident demeanor. But she couldn't let fear grip her. Not now. Everyone. She called out, forcing her voice to sound steadier than she felt. This is exactly what we're fighting against. A dreamer versus a businessman who only cares about profit. We know what this town means to us, and we can't let it slip away. The developer chuckled, a sound rough like gravel, breaking the fragile atmosphere of hope. Dreamer, huh? You think you can win against dollars and cents? This isn't a fairy tale, kid. I'm here to build something that will bring this town into the modern age, whether you like it or not. June felt the stirrings of outrage among the crowd. Whispers rippled behind her, a blend of anger and disbelief. They didn't just cherish their history, they were ready to fight for it. We can still protect what matters. Mr. Thompson shouted, stepping forward as a voice of authority. This town was built on community, and that's what we need to remind him of. The developer shrugged, unimpressed. Good luck with that, he replied, turning to survey the growing crowd like a general preparing for battle. But remember, I have the funds and the means. You're just a bunch of dreamers and nostalgia. A murmur of anger surged within the crowd. It was tangible. Even the children, who had just moments ago been buzzing with excitement about the treasure hunt, now felt the weight of the moment. June's heart raced, but she had to steer this boat. That shop! She exclaimed, thrusting the deed high into the air. This piece of paper holds our history. Every corner of it tells a story of families who built their lives here, of friendships forged, and laughter shared. Suddenly, whispers transformed into shouts of agreement. We've been here for generations. We won't let you take this from us. The unity in their voices swelled, a clarion call echoing through the square. With each shout, June felt herself gaining strength, bolstered by the unwavering support of her friends and neighbors. As they joined hands, she felt an unexpected spark of hope. Could they really do this? The developer's facade cracked slightly, surprise mingling with annoyance. You think this will change anything? Your town's just a blip on the radar. I'll have what I want. A woman from the crowd cut him off. Maybe we're just a small town to you, but that's what makes us special. Look around, we care about each other. We'll stand for Maplewood. With each passionate declaration, June sensed the energy in the air grow thicker, stronger. It was as if the town itself was rallying around them, refusing to back down. June felt the warmth of tears behind her eyes. This was not just about the shop or even the treasure anymore. This was about their community coming together, fighting for every meaningful moment they had created together. As the developer's bravado began to falter, June took a step closer. We can still beat you with our passion and our memories. You may have money, but we have something you'll never possess: our hearts. But as she spoke her next words, a sudden thought gripped her, a realization that mirrored the strength of their united front. What if they couldn't win solely with passion? The developer smirked, perhaps sensing her moment of doubt. We'll see, won't we? He said, dismissively. The tension hung in the air like a storm cloud, and June felt the stakes grow even higher. But what move could she make next, and how could they keep the momentum alive in the face of such opposition? The clock was ticking, and each moment was crucial. Could they outsmart him before the meeting in just 2 days? June's heartbeat thundered in her ears as she watched the developer's sarcastic smile. She turned back to the crowd, desperation creeping in. They were fired up, but passion alone wouldn't be enough. She had to think fast. What if we organize a community meeting? June's voice rang out, a bit louder than intended. We can teach the town about our history, about why it matters. We could even share stories from those who built it. Let us remind everyone why Maplewood is so special. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. A few neighbors exchanged glances, their eyebrows knitting together as the idea took root. Yeah. Mr. Thompson agreed, his eyes lighting up. We can showcase the families who have lived here forever. A town art exhibit, maybe? Photos, stories, all of it. People love to connect through stories. Another voice chimed in from the back. Let us have a festival. One that honors our history and brings everyone together in a way this developer can't destroy. June felt a flicker of hope. Yes, this was it. They could harness the spirit of the town and wrap it around their cause like a shield. Right. We can invite everyone, friends, family, even those who might not think they care about history. As the atmosphere bubbled with excitement, she could see faces brightening with the idea of working together. June felt strength flowing back into her veins. If they united their voices and efforts, it wouldn't just be about protesting the developer, but about celebrating who they were as a community. Let us set a date for this meeting, June suggested, adrenaline spurring her on. We can hold it at the park this Friday evening, right before the developer's big pitch. Let us show him and everyone else what Maplewood truly stands for. The crowd erupted into a chorus of agreement. A wave of anticipation washed over June as she watched her neighbors passionately discuss how they could contribute ideas for decorations, food to share, and volunteer roles popped up like wildflowers in springtime. But as the voices rose, June stole a glance back at the developer, who remained an icy figure amidst their warmth. He pushed himself off the park bench and smirked at them like they were children playing dress-up. I'll be there, he called out, confidence dripping from his tone. This should be amusing. His sneer froze the room. Fear clawed at June's chest once more. What if he had a plan? Perhaps he would sabotage their gathering in some way. She glanced over at Mr. Thompson, who seemed to sense her anxiety. Don't let him get to you, he said, sensing her doubt. We're building something here that is bigger than him. We have each other, and that's what truly matters. June nodded, but she couldn't shake a buried worry. What if all their passion and organization couldn't combat the weight of cold, hard cash? What if this festival, in its beautiful intention, wasn't enough to fend off the developer's plans? As the crowd dispersed, the energy gave way to a blanket of weighty uncertainty. Within the next 2 days, everything hung in the balance. Could Maplewood's heart truly beat loud enough to drown out his money? That question echoed in June's mind as she walked away. She had a mountain to climb and knew that time was running short. With determination, she set her sights on tonight's meeting. What would she discover there that could tip the scales? As the sun lowered, casting shadows on the town, June felt an unsettling chill. Could the festival really be their salvation, or would it deepen the fracture in her community's foundation? The festival day arrived with anticipation thick in the air, vibrant banners flapping against a blue sky that bore witness to the heart and soul of Maplewood. The park buzzed with laughter and chatter, colored by the aromas of homemade pies, rich stews, and the sweet notes of apple cider. Families gathered, children chased butterflies, and older folks shared stories beneath the maple trees that had stood guard for decades. June stood at the center of the park, her heart swelling with pride and anxiety. This wasn't just an event, it was a lifeline. She watched as Kyle rushed to hang the last banner, his movements lively and filled with purpose. This is it, Grandma. We're going to show him. He shouted, pumping his fist in the air, and June couldn't help but smile back. As locals arrived, June felt the warmth of community embrace her. They wore shirts with slogans like Maplewood Matters and Our History is Our Strength. Each face was a tapestry of memories, theirs intertwined with hers. Mr. Thompson patrolled the tables, smiling at each visitor, while Sally gathered stories from families to be displayed on the old-fashioned bulletin board they had erected. But lurking in the back of her mind was the developer. Would he try to wreck this moment? She shook her head, casting away the worry. No. This day was bigger than one man's ambition. It was about collective heritage, about memories untold. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow across the park, June took a deep breath, stepping up to the makeshift podium they had crafted from old crates. Welcome, everyone. She called, her voice filled with gratitude and determination. The crowd quieted, their eyes focused solely on her. Today, we're not just celebrating our town's past, but we are standing up for our future." A cheer erupted, filling the air with electricity. June felt invigorated by their support. We've come together to show that our history, interwoven with each of our lives, is not just a collection of memories but the foundation on which our dreams are built. Amid her shared narrative, a stirring sense filled the crowd, a unified heartbeat echoing their collective desire for resilience. Soon, folks began to share their own stories, voices weaving through the park like a comforting shawl. Each tale was a piece of history, a thread connecting them all back to their roots. Laughter mixed with tears as memories bubbled to the surface, enchanting the atmosphere with nostalgia and pride. Suddenly, a murmur surged through the crowd. All heads turned as the developer strolled into the park with a smirk plastered on his face. June felt her heart stumble. The moment he set foot beneath the awning of joyful celebration, she steeled her resolve. "Enjoying the show?" he called out, sarcasm dripped in each word. June's stomach tightened, but she couldn't let fear conquer them. "We are," she shouted back. "And we stand united." He rolled his eyes, gripping a cup of cider. "You think this small-scale festival can protect the town from progress? Keep dreaming." He surveyed the crowd, his superiority radiating like a black cloud. The people grew restive, but June stepped forward, determination igniting like a flame. "We are dreaming. And we will fight for this dream. Not just for ourselves, but for generations to come." The crowd responded, a wave of cheers and claps erupting, drowning out his demeanor. "Look around," she continued, "look at the history we share. Families, stories, it's all etched into the backbone of our community. We won't let anyone take that away." The developer's expression hardened as he realized the strength of the collective spirit, the defiance in their voices loud enough to rattle even the most hardened of hearts. But he refused to back down. This town will become something greater without clinging to its tacky past. Kyle stepped forward beside June, standing as a proud pillar of hope. "Some things are worth protecting. We won't be dismissive of our past. Our town can grow and innovate while honoring its roots." A moment of acknowledgement murmured through the crowd, and people began to chant, "Protect Maplewood. Protect Maplewood." June felt electrified. Their voices merged, a choir singing the song of resilience that rang like an anthem under the twilight sky. Just then, Sally held the folder containing the original deed high above her head, a bright light in the gathering dusk. "We have something to reveal," she called, voice steady and empowered. The original deed was hidden away, and it's crammed with protective clauses. This town's spirit runs deeper than any developer can destroy. Hope surged through June, igniting a wildfire of emotions. "Here it is. Our legacy is strong." June smiled, joy glistening in her eyes as cheers erupted louder than before. That deed was more than a piece of paper, it was their beacon of strength. It was a reminder that together, they could resist. The developer's face paled as the outrage transformed into a force, flowing through the crowd like a wave crashing on a shore. Everyone turned to him, once a symbol of power and ambition, now reduced to a man standing alone amidst unyielding hope. "Maplewood will continue to thrive," Mr. Thompson declared, stepping beside June and Kyle. "With our hearts, our spirit, and our history guiding us, there is nothing we cannot preserve." June felt powerful. It wasn't just a battle for the shop anymore, it was about something much larger. As she looked into the crowd, she saw faces filled with laughter, strength, and above all, an unwavering sense of purpose. They had built their legacy on shared hearts, overcoming obstacles together across generations. And that day, they proved that nothing could erase their love for Maplewood. As the sun finally set on that incredible festival, June realized that the real transformation had always been within them, a realization that stories etched in time are never forgotten, nor can they fade away so easily. The strength of community was alive. June had ignited a fire within everyone, leaving behind a promise: Maplewood would endure, ever more rooted in love, history, and the shared dreams of its people. Now is the time to act. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the inspiration flowing. We want to hear from you, so comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Every voice matters.